Well, hello there, YouTube. Mr. Gibson Guy here. Thanks for stopping by the channel. Today I'm doing something from a long time ago when I first started, first started making videos and got my YouTube channel going. I started out making a couple of music videos and doing some knife videos. I had just started collecting knives back then. This was almost 15 years ago. And so I did a few videos as I'd buy a knife or two on Amazon, and then I'd do a video and compare the knives that I had and talk about what I was going to get next, and kind of expanded the interest. And a couple of those videos that I made were the first videos that got more than 1,000 views. So I thought, wow, 1,000 people watched my video. And that was a really big deal back then. And I said, when I finish the collection, I'm going to make a video and show you all of them, all put together. And you can see there's a bit more, some more over there, and a few not in the video. But I finished putting this display together. It's a piece of oak plywood and some oak around the frame around it. And I finished this and figured out where all the different knives were going to go, fit them all on there, and then drill them out. Every one is bolted on, so it's got a nut on, it's a screw with a nut on it, on the end of it, so they have at least one nut holding them to the backboard, the display that they're on, so everything's safe, they won't fall off. But when I say that, since I was making this video, I have a couple of guest stars in our regular cast that came and visited, and that is, at the bottom there's a shelf, and so I have a couple of knives lined up across the bottom. The full display is 32 knives. I have 37 on there, so I got a few tacked on at the bottom, but I think they'll be safe for right now. So let me go back behind the camera and I'll take you on the tour, show you the individual knives, and tell you about them. Now, I'm going to work behind the camera here. So we see there's four lines down here, and we're going to start with the left-hand side. You can get a better view like that. First row is Spyderco, and the first one is a rather large Spyderco knife. I should have mentioned this at the beginning. These knives, with a couple of exceptions, about 3 exceptions, are what was called at that time a pocket clip folding loading lockback knife. So these knives all have a lock on them. You lock the blade into place, and then you press it and you fold the knife back up. So they're folding lockbacks or frame locks, except for a couple of them. And Spyderco ain't them, but I'll get to them in a minute. So let's start here. And this top Spyderco is the long one. It's one of the longer knives up there. And this is the Spyderco Endura in the green. They made a pretty pleasant green color. I'm seeing the knife myself and looking at it in the monitor on the camera, and so not quite the same green, but it's pretty close. And below that is, I researched this to make sure I got it right, is an Atlantic salt with a fully serrated blade. Now, a couple of things about this. First of all, you see that the yellow is kind of yellow-white. The camera, part of that is due to the camera. When I look at it with my eyes, I see it's not quite as yellow as it appears on the screen. But it's not a real, like an international yellow that you would see on things that have to do with the ocean and salt water and everything. But there's a couple of these. This is the Atlantic Salt, and it's kind of a fishing knife with that fully serrated blade. Chop some gills off of some fish you catch. These all have H1 blades on them, the salt ones, the ones with the yellow. They come in yellow or international orange grips, and the two that I have are the yellow grips. And these grips don't stand up as well as the knives do. The H1 steel usually steel is a mixture of iron and carbon, but iron and carbon steel, even if it has the chromium mixed in to make it stainless steel, they still rust in salt water. But this is an alloy which is basically iron and nitrogen, which is not even a metal, it's a gas, but iron and nitrogen together. The Spyderco claims you can leave it in the salt water for 100 years. It won't rust. And I haven't taken this one. I took the other one with me. I used to take it when I would go to the beach and go snorkeling. I would carry that with me because it had a convenient clip right to my bathing suit. And after spending hours in the salt water, I didn't get any rust on it. But the handles don't hold up as good as the blades do. Okay, let's move down. So I've told you the problems with that one. Nice knife though, great for fishing, I bet, if I ever fished. This one is kind of an unusual one. This one is called a Mannix Blue. And this is my only Spyderco, which is made in the U.S. Spyderco is a kind of an international conglomerate, I guess you could call it. They make their knives, in the U.S. They make their knives in Seki City, Japan. A lot of them, the knife capital of the world, or of Japan anyway. They make some in European countries. They make some switchblade type knives, and they make some in Asia. Some on mainland China, some in Taiwan. Interestingly enough, I have several made in China, mainland China, and People's Republic. And those are kind of the cheap ones, and I have a couple that are made kind of composite. The blades are made in the U.S., and then the knives are made in Taiwan. And those are kind of deluxe knives we're going to hit. But this is my only one made in the U.S., and it is you can kind of see it in this view here. It's a translucent blue, kind of a darker blue, but you can see there's a frame underneath it, and you can see some of the reflection off the frame because it is somewhat transparent. All right, so that's the Mannix Blue, my only U.S. Spyderco. A lot of U.S. knives, but that's the only Spyderco. Then here we got a couple of brother knives. These are closely related. Oh, there's that Salt 2 that I was talking about. But let's look at these here. This is from their budget range, which are the ones that are made in mainland China. And they normally come with black grips on them, which is the regular Fiji 10, I think. It's been a long time. The one is in olive green, and the upper one is in blue. The blue is very unusual. Back in those days, it was what was called a sprint run, where instead of making a black, they sometimes put these blue grips on the knives, and they call that a sprint run, and they were supposedly collector's items on the lower end, because usually collector's items in knives would be the real high-end stuff, but they decided they were going to just make 500 or 1,000, something like that of these, and that's all they were going to be. And they did 3 of the 4 models. There's one that's bigger, but that one's pretty unusual. Oh, and not just black grips, but you could also get black blades. on some of these knives occasionally. I don't think the black was that good because it was painted on and it was going to come off. But if you want to display it, it'll be all right. My whole display, as you'll see here, has one rule, and that's we don't put in any black. And I have one black blade and one black grip that I tried to change out, and I haven't been able to get one to replace it. And I've kind of left it like that. But you can get every knife in black of any company. They can all make them in black. But I wanted to see how many I could do in different colors, and that's what I have here, because there's all different colors up here. Got everything you can imagine except black. So let's keep going. This is the Tenacious, which was their main budget folder, the second longest one, and it normally comes in black. You're going to see one in a minute. And then there's one in olive green. So I have a Sprint Run blue and an olive green one. This is the Salt 2 that I was referring to a little bit earlier, and it's a shorter knife, noticeably shorter than the Atlantic Salt that you saw. And of course this has a smooth blade, not a serrated blade. And you can really see the yellowing disappearing on this one. I did take it off and look at the back, and you could see this side is the one that gets all the light, and it's exposed. The other side is up against the display, so it doesn't ever get light on it, and it's much more of a yellow color than this one is. All right, we got into some more Sprint Runs coming. This is the smaller end of the budget folders. This tripod just keeps sliding around here. All right. The upper one is a Persistence, which is the next smaller one from the Tenacious, and the other one on the bottom is called the Ambitious, and this is the real small model. And you can see I have the three of them in the Sprint Run blue colors. Now I haven't checked prices on these in probably more than 10 years, so I'm sure that there's been some other colors that have appeared from time to time, but at the time that I was collecting these, that was it. And some of them were easy to get, some of them were sold out. And the one that I bought used, not new, because somebody had it up for a pretty cheap price, and so I snagged it. So I would have a full set, even though I have the boxes on all these Spydercos except for that one, the Tenacious Blue. All right, and then down below here, ooh, there we go. Okay, yeah. So those are the two we're looking at. Here we go. Now, let's see if I can stop this. This is my favorite Spyderco, and you can see it's got a carbon fiber grip that looks kind of like it's black here. It's kind of a gold color also, like carbon fiber. But this one is not, I don't usually put it on the display, and it's not attached up there. These ones on the bottom are just sitting on the shelf. So this is the first in a series of 4 knives that Spyderco came up with, and this is the Sage series. This, with this carbon fiber scales on it, is the Sage 1, and it's a beautiful knife, and it has S30V steel, which is made in the US, which is top of the line, but the knife was actually assembled in Taiwan, and it's one of their more expensive knives. This next one is a Sage 3, and you see it has the Sprint Run color VG10 grips. VG10, S30V, now that's knife, blade material. This one has the same blue color, but this was a short run. They made this one for a little while, and then they said, oh, we're using our Sprint Blue, so they changed it, and they came out with a different Sage 3, but this was one of the original ones. And then behind this Sage 3 is there, the one I told you was coming. This is the basic Spyderco lens, the Tenacious, which I think it's a 3-inch, 3¼ inch blade, and it has the standard black grips on it that they're all supposed to have. All right, so that takes care of Spyderco for us. Let's move out here and get closer. We're going to go to the second row. I think I spoke a lot about that one. All right, so the second row from there, you see this is some knives that were just coming to the U.S. when I started collecting these. And so I ended up getting a lot of these. These are some really interesting knives. They were the coolest knives in the set when I first made it, and they probably still are. Surprisingly enough, the prices have increased on these, on the Mcusta knives, but not very much, because most of them are still in production and you can still buy them. That's when they discontinue one, then it starts to become collectible. But they're keeping these available, and they're very high quality knives. Now these first two on the top that we're looking at, these are not pocket clip knives. They're large too. These are locking folders, but they come with a pouch, a belt pouch. You can put it on their belt and fold the knife and stick it in the pouch. And what do we have here? You can't really tell unless I show you the back, but the light has faded these some as well. The top one with the sort of green scales on it is the Japanese tea ceremony, and that below it is the Bushido knife, Tokugawa something or another. I don't know. I'm not up on my Japanese. Let me see if I can show you these, the little things engraved in the handles. Bushido, Tokugawa, Tawagako, right there, and that's that flower, I guess. So that's all carved into it. Oh, a laser carved, I think. And let's go above here. The Japanese tea ceremony. Here we go. Oh, that's as close up as it goes. All right, so we can back out, be smoother. All right, and let's move down here because we're getting to my favorite. This was my first found Mcusta knife. I got two of them here. This is the katana and the katana. The upper one, Mcusta calls that orange and blue, and then below it there's a purple and blue, which is a little bit different on those aluminum scales on these here. And the first one with the orange, it looks yellow to me, but they call it orange and blue. That was the first Mcusta that I came across, that I found online, and I really wanted to get one. And everybody really wanted to get one. And it wasn't their most expensive knife. It was up 110, something like that, a little bit over 100, 110, under 120. And I tried to get one, and I could not get one anywhere. So finally I broke down and got the blue and the purple, because I figured, you know what, I kind of like this anyway, but I really like the gold on it. The gold. And so I got that, and then I got a couple others that we're going to see next. And then finally they got a shipment to the States, and I got this one. But this was like my 5th or 6th knife when I finally got to get the one that I really wanted. And I'm glad that it worked out that way, because that helped get me started on making this display and having the whole collection. All right, so let's move down. These were the katanas, and then we have some more with the aluminum scales. And this is the Bushi sword. There's an all purple. See, these are one color single anodized instead of double anodized aluminum scales. And I put it where you can still see a katana up there. If you look at the katana down the length of the blade, there's a line, because this is a two-layer pulp mold of the knife blade. And for the Bushi swords here, these have full 31-layer Damascus blades. That's instead of 2 layers of steel melted together, they got 31 layers of steel melted together on those blades. And that's the real fancy part for these. And that makes them a little bit more expensive than the 2-layer katanas were. But I'm pretty sure the katanas were the most popular, because these stayed available when the katanas would always sell out first. And then we get down to the bottom, and they ended up being really kind of my favorites here. This is what Mcusta calls their budget folders, kind of like those Chinese Spydercos, but these were all made in the same place in Seki City, Japan. And the upper one, these blades are single blades here. They're not multiple layers like the ones above. So these are just the basic polished steel blades. And the upper one, the handle, is real wood. I can't remember the name of it. I just know that Taylor made a guitar that uses the same wood, and I haven't seen the name ever since then. Everywhere I looked on it, I couldn't find it. And then the bottom one is what they call stamina wood. And the stamina wood is like artificial wood made to be like real wood, and it's supposed to really stand up. And it does have a lot of stamina. It's real hard. It hasn't broken. Not that it gets much use on a display, but it's been very sturdy. But believe it or not, it's supposed to be green. And if I took it off and showed you the back side that doesn't get the light, you would see, oh, it's green. But here, you see it's green because I told you it's green. You thought it was black and gray, but that's supposed to be green. All right, so that's the 8 from Mcusta. Now, I'm going to do something a little bit different here. For this row, here we go. Right there we go. All right, here we go. Let's close in here. This row is Kershaw's, and there's several different knives here, but it's all one model. They have different locks on some of them. Some of them have aluminum scales, some of them have steel scales, and then it's that decides if it's a frame lock or a back lock, or anyway, all the different locks on them. And these are all assisted openers too, which means they have a spring. You press a button to get it to go loose, and it flings out, spits it out itself. So these are pretty exciting. And this one is what this is the Kershaw Leak in titanium rainbow color. And this titanium rainbow finish you see on some guns made by Sig Sauer, but it's more of a hologram, and the colors change when you look at it in different angles. This one just has the one colors that it looks like, and that's all you get. But this is kind of the premium one. This is the most expensive of the Leaks. They're U.S. made, but they're not very expensive. They're meant for carrying. Here's a couple more, and these have aluminum scales on them, so they're not not locked there. They're locked into the frame itself. And this is obviously a kind of a satin purple and a satin blue. And on turquoise, and I have another one that's lighter. That's really turquoise, and that's a satin finish one. All of these are going to have the stone wash finish on the blades, except for one, and that's the rainbow. And here's one in olive drab with the satin finish blade. Here's my black blade that I have, the only black blade that's snuck into the collection here. And then here's an orange one. These were pretty rare when I found this. There was hardly anywhere on the line. And then there's a red one, which is starting to look a little pink, which is common apparently for Kershaw. And then I have another Kershaw here that just stays on the bottom, but I opened it up to show it to you. And this one is kind of unusual. This one is called a Zing SS for stainless steel. And this was my first assisted opener that I got. It was pretty inexpensive, and I can't even tell. It doesn't say where it was made. If it doesn't say, it's supposed to be U.S. and Kershaw's supposed to be U.S., but I don't know if they bought this from somewhere else. All right, so we've got all through 8 leaks designed by Ken Onion, named them all after onions, and like a chive. And now we go to the miscellaneous, others mixed up. So let's go to the top of the list, and here we are. All right, now these are some of my more expensive ones, but they are also the economy ones. These are both made by Benchmade, which is a kind of premium knife company, and they made these two that were their work knives, their general use, because most any Benchmade, you wouldn't want to do anything other than maybe slice fruit with it or something. You don't want to mess it up because they are very expensive. The orange one with the partially serrated blade is called the Benchmade Griptilian, and this was their base one. And this was some company made an order for that they were going to sell, and I guess they didn't sell very many of them, because I ended up getting this one for like $75. And most of the Griptilians were going for over 100 and up from there. And that was their cheapest thing. Next thing you would get would be in the 150 category, which would be a real basic knife. But these were the actual Benchmade for people that drive a big truck and go to work, and they want to have their knife on them in case you have any use for it. So this is the work level knives, general consumer. The Griptilian on top and below is a mini grip. The mini grip came with a really hideous powder blue scales. Not these. These are kind of a medium blue here. And this one actually is the most expensive knife in my collection because I ordered it online as a custom order, which basically means they put on the nice blue scales instead of the powder blue ugly scales. But I bought that, so this one cost me about $150. Normally this one would go for 80 to 90, maybe up close to 100, a little bit less than a Griptilian, because it was the mini grip, and that's what they call it, the mini Griptilian or the mini grip. So those are my fancy Benchmade knives, and I suggest if you haven't seen these, look up Benchmade and look at some of the knives they make. They make some really fancy blades. These are real plain, but I can say, hey, I got some USA-made Benchmade knives in my collection. Now we go to the old standard Buck. And you're going to see there's another Buck too that I'm going to throw in there. Whoa. All right, I got you guys lined up. How we doing? The orange and the kind of green there, latrine green, are American-made Bucks, and they are the model Spitfire. And these are like $30. They were when I bought them. They are now. I looked it up, and it's the same price. It's made in the U.S. and they're decent knives. They're a mid-back lock. It has it back here. You can see. You can't see when I point my finger on my screen, can you? All right. So these are mid-back locks, made in the U.S. And the one down below is my other out of place, out of context, a knife that has a black grip on it. And this is called the Buck Vantage Pro. And this was one of the early knives that I got before I came up with the rule about no black. It's a flipper knife, which is not a quite assisted opener, but it's just done by your thumb flipping a little lever that you see on it, and it pops out like that. And so it can go very fast. It's my first knife made out of S30V steel, which is premium steel for knives. And there's a number of these knives that are S30V, but not very many of them. So I got this in the S30V, and I was going to, they call them rosewood scales that are kind of a stamina wood, like Mcusta uses, but it's artificial wood. But I've been unable to ever find anybody that would sell me the rosewood scales. Most of the time you can get replacement scales for your knife, but I couldn't get any rosewood for this. The rosewood only comes in a VG10, but if you want to get the S30V, you got to get the one with the black handle. All right, we got just a little bit more here. This one, this is more Kershaw, yes. And this top one, I was real disappointed. You see down at the lower left corner, you can see another Kershaw that's red. It looks more red than this Kershaw Blur, which is pink and black. It originally was red, but it has faded out to a pink blade. It's not quite as pink when you look at it with the naked eye, but the video camera translates it into pink, very exciting pink. And that pink blade, that pink handled knife, and the blue handle down below with the carbon fiber inserts on it, those are both Kershaw Blurs, and those are regular assisted openers that have springs on them, and they open real fast. The blue one came with the S30V stonewash blade that you see. The pink one came with a black blade, and they only Kershaw put the S30V only on the blue and the black handle one. So I had to get a black handle blade because this pink handle one came with a black semi-serrated knife blade. So I had to take it apart, take the black one apart, take the stainless steel blade off of the black grip and attach it to the pink, and then take the black blade off the pink grip and attach it onto the black handle. And I gave that to a kid I knew that didn't have a nice knife, so here, take this. Because I certainly didn't have use for an all black Kershaw Blur. There was no room for it here, but I liked it with the red grips when they were still red, and kind of disappointed about it turning pink. And also, just a couple of years ago, I was at the sporting goods counter at Walmart, and I saw that they had come out with the Blur with a black blade, of course, that came in a green that was kind of like this green, only more of a lime green, a little darker, and but still kind of had that shine to it, and that was a really nice looking knife, and it's for sale in all the Walmart counters. Apparently nobody's buying them because nobody wants to buy a $60 Kershaw knife there. So every Walmart I go to, they always have a green one on the display in the counter that they keep close look on, but nobody's going to spend that much at Walmart. And it has, unfortunately, a black blade, so I would have to go back and buy another black handled S30V stainless steel blade and switch it out if I wanted to do that. And I don't have the place for it because my whole display is filled. The only thing that I could do was in between these two Kershaw Blurs is one that's called a Kershaw Echelon. That's this one here. And the Kershaw Echelon, they call it a jade finish. It's supposed to be a regular material for grips, but you can see it's semi-translucent, and you can see parts of the stainless steel frame coming through this light green look. So it's supposed to, they call the handle jade. It's not jade, which wouldn't be very good for a knife anyway, because it would break when you drilled holes in it. But this looks like jade, so that's what it gets to be called. So, oh, can't you forget the star here. Here's Grandpa, right here. Let's back it up a little bit. This is where it all started, the very beginning of the lock blade knife. Here's my monitor. Hey, monitor. There we are. So, what do we have here? This is it, my original Buck 112 3-inch blade. That's what a Buck sounds like when it locks. And that's where the whole idea of lockback knives got started with these. I bought this one late summer of 1977, just after I finished college. And I've got it ever since. I still have the same leather case for it. Brass on it and everything. And boy, is this heavy to carry around with all the stuff that we're used to these days. It's got a little release button at the back. And then folds up. You can't really do it one-handed. But that I always keep at the end of the line for my knife display. Now, I hope you enjoyed this trip down memory lane. It's going to be kind of interesting things to collect. I really like this collection I've made. Not many people have seen it, but anybody who does, that's really cool. I really like it. So if you've never looked up some knives, I've just told you about a bunch of the more kind of somewhat deluxe level of knives, not the regular Bear Grylls, Gerbers that you find in the Walmart counter. But they do have a really nice puke green blur if you want to spend $60. It's a pretty nice knife, but it's got a black blade on it. So, tell your friends about the channel, share this video with them. If you have any friends, if you don't have any friends, share this video with people that you want to be your friend, and they'll be your friend. So, there's just another use of these videos and things you can get from YouTube. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe. Hit the subscribe button and you'll get to see anything that I put out. I've been doing like one a week for summer, but I start picking that up again. Let's get back into the grind, and it goes, and it's cooled off outside, so it's a great day for motorcycles or bicycles or being outdoors. Anything but making videos. But I had to make this for you. Hope you enjoyed it. Until the next one, this is Mr. Gibson Guy, and I'm out of here.